Hey there, Ken. Are you there? I was just curious if now is a good time to talk. I just wanted to make sure whether or not you were already on your way to the preschool right now. Because I asked you to go and pick up Pearl from there, remember?
Wait a second. You wanted me to do that again? Yeah, I really don't think that's gonna work for me. I mean, I'm still busy with work, so I just won't be able to go to the preschool at all.
Oh, right. Well, I was just wondering if you might have asked for time off to go and get her.
Well, why is she needing to be picked up right now? Don't tell me that she broke out in another fever.
That's what the school is saying, yeah. The teachers there took her temp and they told me it was sitting just above 100.
Oh, wow. Well, that is just a big high, especially for a little girl. But maybe it's one of those colds that just incubates and gets worse in children before it can spread to adults.
Yeah, I think I remember reading somewhere that that's what would happen with smallpox was still a thing.
Well, diseases really are just a completely different life form with different rules from us. But anyways, I really can't afford to get sick right now. Things are really busy in the office, and my boss has talked about how we need all hands on deck right now.
Right. Well, I guess if that's the case, then I'll go and pick Pearl up. And I suppose I'll also have to take her to the doctor as well, won't I? I'll let you know what I hear from them after they've examined her later today, okay?
Sure thing. This really is pretty worrying. I mean, it seems like she's getting a cold every day at this point. You ever wonder if Pearl's just really weak? Like as a person?
I don't know. The teachers seem to think that this is a pretty normal for children who are her age, but on the smaller side. And besides, you know that there's always something going around preschools with how dirty children can be. So I guess we really shouldn't be too surprised at all this, but still, we should think of ways to protect Pearl. Either way, the point is that right now she is getting too sick too often and something has to be done.
I know. Especially if her getting sick all the time is going to eat into her parents' schedules as much. I didn't think we'd already be going to a doctor so often.
Well, I suppose that we really just don't have much of a choice in the matter. After all, she's our daughter. We have to do this. Besides, it hasn't eaten into your schedule at all. I'm always the one having to take off work early to go and pick Pearl up, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I know. But of course you would. Your office is much closer to her school than mine is, after all. Besides, you said that your boss is much more supportive of working parents and having to leave for stuff like this. It's not like I don't want to go and pick Pearl up. It's just that it works out better if you do it, right?
Okay, well, yes, my boss may be understanding of the circumstances, but I also have work that I need to do and deadlines that I need to meet. So I really, really would appreciate it if you could go and pick Pearl up from time to time.
And I'm telling you that my office would not let something like that fly at all. I don't care how sick she was. I just wouldn't be able to get the time off. My boss isn't like yours. He's not about to let me go and put my daughter before the company. Especially because he knows I'm married. He would just tell me to make you do it anyways.
Wow. Well, it sounds to me like your boss is stuck in the past and really needs a wake-up call.
Well, it's not like he's wrong. I do have a wife much closer to my daughter and in a better position to take off work to go get her.
That's fine, but it's not like I can just take off work whenever I feel like it. I'm still using my time off and I'm still inconveniencing my coworkers by always being away from the office.
Well, have you thought about taking off the maternity leave that you never used?
I've talked to my boss about it before, and she says that it would mean she would have to move some personnel around, but that it would be possible.
I see. And if you did that, then what would happen to your salary?
I would take about 6 months of time off and only get paid half of what my salary is.
So you would only get paid half of what you're making now, huh? It really would be a pain if we had to tighten our budget anymore.
But I really don't think that I'll take the time off. I mean, it's not so bad taking off early to pick Pearl up. I just won't ask you to do this anymore, and I'll handle it all myself.
Well, hold on a second. Let's think about this. If you did take that much time off of work, then you could always make sure the house was clean.
Well, I think I do a pretty good job of that while working right now, so...
I know, but I'm saying as it is right now, I have to help you take care of the house, right? I'm always helping you cook and clean and that sort of stuff. But if you took off work and basically just became a housewife for 6 months, then I wouldn't have to do any of that, right? I would just go to work and come home to a clean house and dinner.
It is true that we both work to keep the house clean and running. That is true. I'm sorry if you have some kind of problem with my cooking, though. When it's my turn to cook, I usually just go for something simple since I'm tired from work.
That's my whole point. You could take this time to really improve your cooking and laundry skills and stuff like that. Besides, to be honest, I really do think you need to step it up in the kitchen.
So then you're telling me that you do want me to take time off work after all?
After this discussion, it really sounds to me like we really can't afford not to do that at this point. But don't worry, I'll be sure to take care of you. Hey there, Clara. Just wanted to let you know that I got off work now. Ugh, I'm so sick of having to work all the overtime. It really is killing me. Do you know that?
Well, I'm glad that you finally were able to finish for the day. It seems that they really have been keeping you busy as of late.
Well, that's easy for you to say when you don't have anything going on at all. A housewife's life must be so easy. All you do is eat and sleep.
What in the world are you talking about, Ken? I don't take naps while you're away at work, you know.
Okay, fine. But at least you're not having to work as hard as I am at my job. You're at home, surrounded by all our stuff, just able to do whatever you want. Man, I really wish that I could just walk away from work and hang out at home doing nothing all day. You have no idea how jealous I am of you.
Well, it just goes to show how little you know of what I actually do around the house every day. I mean, do you have any idea how hard it is to keep everything clean, do all the laundry, and still keep up with Pearl? I barely have time to catch my breath.
Okay, but come on, Clara. You're not about to really say that being a housewife is more challenging than working full-time, right? I mean, you're unemployed. You've got no real responsibilities. You're living the easy life and you're complaining about it?
If you don't think that I have any responsibilities at home, then you really don't know what you're talking about at all. Even I didn't think that it would be this difficult, but you basically have to work around everyone's schedules, and it's like I'm on the clock all the time. Honestly, by the time you get home, I am just exhausted. It really would be nice if you did just a little more around the house.
And you don't think that I'm not just as tired, if not more, from working all day? You're at the house, so you take care of the house. That's the deal. I mean, isn't that why you took all the time off work to begin with?
Yeah, that was the plan, but the least you could do is help me out on the weekends. You don't do anything around the house, and you hardly spend any time with Pearl either. You know, sometimes I wonder if she even sees you as her dad at this point.
Hold on a second. Are you really asking me to sacrifice my precious time off so that I could do your job for you? I'm going out to the office every day earning money so that we can have a roof over our head and food on our table. But I guess that just still isn't enough for you, is it?
I'm just saying that if you want me to do all the work around the house, even after you get home from work, then the least you could do is spend more time with our daughter. You're her father, for crying out loud. You can't just ignore her, you know. I mean, even when I was working, you would still help me out with Pearl when I felt bad or was stuck in bed from period cramps. What happened to that father of the daughter that I used to know?
That was then, and this is now. Don't compare the two, okay? I am not as free as I used to be, and I have more work now. You don't know my schedule, so don't talk to me like you do, okay? You're just trying to get me to earn all the money and do all the work around the house, aren't you?
Excuse me, Ken, but what happened to you to bring about all this change? I mean, you never used to be this bad about helping me out when I asked for it. You used to love spending time with Pearl. Now you just act like you're so great just for being a working husband and father to a child.
Well, I am great. That's why I know what's best for the family. You do nothing but eat away at my paycheck anyways.
Well, you do know that this rest from work was only ever going to be temporary, you know? I only took time off so that I could keep an eye on our daughter and make sure that she was doing okay. So are you still going to talk to me like this when I'm working again?
I'm just saying that obviously the most important job you can do for a family is to earn money. If we didn't have money, then you and Pearl wouldn't have a place to live. So, from that logic, it's quite easy to see how it's obvious that I'm the most important person in the family. And I don't need to take any back talk from some unemployed housewife like you.
Unemployed housewife? Is that what you just called me? Do you really think that you can boss us around just because you're working?
Of course I do. That's what I've been saying this whole time. Are you only just starting to get it now? It's high time I claimed my stake as the center of this family. And it's important that our daughter recognizes that this is how a man who takes care of his family acts. Now quit acting so selfishly or else I'll have to punish you for it.
You are just ridiculous. You're the one acting like a complete child right now. And just how do you think you're going to punish me? You really think that anyone believes this is all for Pearl? It's clearly all just for your ego.
Well, I've decided that from here on out, I am done spoiling you and Pearl. I'm going to become a much more strict husband and father and run this house like a boot camp.
And you really think that that's what's going to be best for Pearl? You think people are going to want to come over and play with her if her father is like that?
I don't care if no one comes over to play. We don't need others coming to our family affairs anyways. Besides, everyone knows that playtime is for the weak. Every successful person now never had any playtime when they were little.
Just where in the world did you read such a ridiculous thing? Do you really believe that? Is that how you see the world?
Look, the point is that I'm the most important in this house and that I make the rules for you and Pearl to follow. Okay? As long as you remember that, we'll be okay.
Ken, what's up with our room? Why is it such a mess? What did you do in here?
Ugh! Are you kidding me? I had just finally gotten to sleep and now your messages are keeping me up. And just where were you anyways? Huh?
I told you yesterday that I was going to go to my parents' house. Don't you remember me saying that to you?
Well, you spent way too much time over there. Why didn't you come home in time to make us dinner, huh? What's the matter with you?
Well, then I had to go out again and take Pearl to the doctor because she broke out with another fever. And just what is wrong with me going out of the house anyways, huh? I mean, it was only a few hours in total. Besides, you still haven't told me why the house is such a mess. I was barely gone and it's a disaster.
Well, whatever. I'm going to the casino. Don't bother me again until the house is spotless. Got it?
What are you talking about? I just want to know why our house is such a mess. I mean, there's cans all over the floor. Did you drink while I was out or something like that?
And so what if I did have a couple of drinks, huh? You got a problem with that?
I do if you drank a bunch and are now going to the casino, yes. I mean, I don't care if you do go now and then, but you've been going almost every day and you've lost big more than once. Don't you see that you're wasting all our money? You know that we don't have incomes anymore, right? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that if I'm the only one making money around here, then that means it's all mine, and I should be able to spend it however I want.
I really can't believe that you're acting this way. You're just horrible. Do you know that? I mean, I really just don't even know how to deal with you while you're being like this. But if you made this mess in our house, then I am not going to clean it up for you. I am not a maid. I am your wife. And besides, I have more important things to do, like being here for our daughter in the hospital.
You really have some nerve talking to me like that. You don't even work and you think you can boss me around like you bring any money in?
Why is that always your first line of attack? Why is it always about the money with you? I mean, you keep saying that you're working for the good of the family, but can't you see that what I'm doing is for the good of the family too? Why does it have to be all about rank and position and who's the most important person in the house, huh?
You really just don't get it at all, do you? Of course it's all about the money. It's always been about the money. And how you both are always spending my money like you think it's yours.
Your money? You really need a wake-up call if you think that we're spending your money, Ken. I mean, I didn't want to have to say this way, but the fact is that you just don't make enough to take care of all of us.
Excuse me? What did you just say to me? Did you really just send that message? You've got some nerve. Do you know that?
Well, I'm only trying to clarify some misconceptions that you seem to be under right now. Because the fact is that I have not been living off the money that you've been making through your job.
What does that even mean? Just where have you been getting your money from then? Huh?
Did you really think that you were our only hope to survive, Ken? Did you really think that you were supporting a family of 3 with your tiny salary? Thankfully for me, before we started dating, I had already saved up a lot of money that I put away in a savings account. And that is the money that I've been living off of. I've really only been using the money that you bring in to make payments on the car and pay for Pearl's preschool.
You're a liar. You're lying and I know it. You really think that I'm just gonna fall for that nonsense?
I'm afraid that I'm not lying at all. You've been putting all the work at home on me, including the budget. That means that I know exactly how much everything costs and where the money comes from. But now that I think about it, you've never had any time to live on your own and figure this out, huh?
Well, that's because I was living with my parents before we got married. There's nothing wrong with how much money I make. I earn the average of what someone doing my job does.
That may be true, but you have to factor in your age as well. And the fact of the matter is that you're way behind other people your age. Of course that makes sense, considering you. You hardly seem to have any ambition and seem like you don't mind at all doing the same job forever. But meanwhile, everyone else who you got hired with has been promoted or moved on to a better job. You're the only one still working basically the same position that you started at in your company.
Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about. Not everything is about promotions and positions and money, you know. I just have my own way of doing things.
You say that, but how is that way of doing things going for you when all your colleagues have already surpassed you? I bet many of them are married and have children too, so you can't use us as an excuse.
Oh, just shut up already. You don't know what you're talking about. I like my job and I like what I do. But if I wanted, I could get promoted like it was nothing. And all that would mean is that I get a little bit more money for a lot more work, and I don't want that.
Well, I suppose everyone does have their own style of doing things, but I just hope that you realize that you shouldn't be bragging so much about how much you make. After all, you do know that when I was working, even I was making more money than you, right? I knew that I was going to have to dip into my savings for us to make ends meet the moment we decided that I would stop working for a bit. But you just thought that you could lord working over me like I was doing nothing for the family.
Well, you should have talked to me about all of this earlier. Why have you been so quiet about all this until just now? If I wasn't making enough money for you, then I'll just work harder and earn more.
You shouldn't have to wait for me to tell you to do that before you do. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to hurt your pride and because I saw how hard you were working. But the moment I stopped working, you let all of it go to your head, and it's been downhill since then.
But, I really had no idea at all. Please, I really thought that I was just being logical and suggesting it.
Well, I hope that you can see that I was the one keeping this family afloat with the money that I was earning. I suppose I'll be happy as long as you can say that you've learned your place. Either way, I'm not going to keep wasting my savings supporting the three of us anymore. Instead, I am going to take Clara, and we are going to leave you.
Wait, what? You can't just take my child and leave? That's illegal or something, isn't it?
If you really think so, then why not go ask any judge? Either way, we're still getting divorced, but have a nice life. After that, I followed through on my word, hired a lawyer, and began the divorce process with Ken. I had held on to hope that Ken would settle down, that he would finally put his ego in check, but he just kept pushing me until I couldn't take it. Of course, once he knew the truth about where most of our money was coming from, he begged me not to leave him. In one last desperate move, he begged his boss for a raise, but his boss told him that he really hadn't done much to deserve anything. That's when Ken started trying to take credit for the work that his colleagues had done. When his boss realized what he was doing, however, he fired him on the spot. With nowhere else to go and a divorce underway, Ken had to quickly find another job and moved into a tiny apartment. As one final act of mercy to the man that I once loved, I didn't even ask Ken to pay child support for Pearl. I told him that I would have more than enough money to take care of the two of us and that he needed the money more than we did. After the divorce, I took Pearl and we moved to a new city to be closer to my parents, who helped take care of Pearl for me while I'm at work at my new job. I asked my company for a transfer to an office closer to where we moved to and was able to start right away. I'm going to take some time adjusting to being a single mother, but I'm glad that I have a supportive family and network of friends willing to be there for me and help me through it. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.